Nerds and geeks, it is that time again. Come one, come all, gather around. It is the legendary Friday nights of the Nerd-O-Roundtable. Yours truly, King Nerdificent Tawala Sharp in the building. I see the one and only Mo Kelly. What it is, good sir?
Hola, este fin de semana.
You know I don't speak Spanish. Shit. Ryan, Twitch Master McBang.
The Raiders won tonight. They're undefeated. Just pointing that out.
No, they're not.
That's always a good thing. That's always a good thing. Tom is talking Cunningham. How you feeling, brother?
What it is, good peoples.
Oh, it is gravy. Dr. Liz from the freeway.
Hi, everyone.
Dr. Liz had a great week this week.
It's
Anthony
the beginning
from
of the
Cubicles
semester.
Down.
I was having a good week until Ryan mentioned the Raiders. Like,
Oh, go to hell.
get out of here.
Get out of here.
And get hit by Aaron Donald in his helmet.
Ah, damn.
Damn.
Is this
No,
what we're
wait.
doing? Is this what we're doing? Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you know we like to welcome different individuals into the nerdverse. We like to, give individuals an opportunity to show their nerd knowledge amongst the Friday nights. We have my man Will Johnson joining us tonight. My man Will
What
hit
it
us up
do?
on the Nerd-O-Rama
Yeah.
fan page a while back. Will is a longtime nerd. He comes from a family of Trekkies, but his introduction to nerddom was through the X-Men animated series. Longtime comic collector, comic cards, Pogs. He goes way back to Pogs, and now he is joining us on the legendary Friday nights of the Nerd-O-Roundtable. How you doing, Will?
Man, blessed to be here amongst all my nerd brethren and sisters. Man, I can't tell you. I can't even put it into words, but I will tonight, though.
Hey, Will,
I'm here for y'all.
Well, how did you find Nerd-O-Rama?
Well, I was delivering pizzas for like 6 years, and you get tired of hearing every song on the radio. It's very repetitive. So you need to stimulate your mind. You hit that AM side, and then you find KFI, and then you find Tawala Sharp, and then you find Mo Kelly, and then they come together with this Nerd-O-Rama. And it's a short segment, and I wanted so much more. So I had to stick around till I heard all the information I could hear, found out about podcasts, and you're the reason I listen to podcasts. I still wouldn't mess with it today. Promise you that.
Shit.
Yeah,
High praise.
before Joe Rogan, it was y'all, okay?
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
All I
a
worry about is
beautiful thing.
working and taking care of whatever kids I got, which is 4 daughters, and they hold me down. I hold them down. So that's all I worry about. I'm not really into it, except when it comes to these shows and these movies and anything in the nerdverse. I'm on it.
All right.
Okay.
Hey,
There it is.
absolutely.
Then you are welcome here, good sir. Tonight we of course are kicking it off with Chick Hulk, aka She-Hulk, attorney at law. I gotta say, for real, second episode, I'm all the way fucking into this show. This
Yes.
show is the first
Absolutely.
MCU show that is all about adulting. Everything about this show is for the grown folks. If you don't have a job, if you ain't never lived life, you may not get this show. You may not
And no
understand
student
half the
loans.
shit she's saying. She's asking questions we want to know. Talking about, do Avengers get paid? Hell no, I don't want to be a superhero.
Right.
Dental
benefits.
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 Health insurance.
Yes.
Maternity
Those are
leave.
the questions.
And they still
Legitimate
spending Tony
questions.
Stark money.
Well, they
Right.
kind
You
of
don't
they kind of
get none
touched
of
up on
that.
that on Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
They
He was
did.
trying to get that loan.
Yeah, because he
Trying to
couldn't get a loan.
But
he
see,
That's
get a
right.
picture.
They tried to make that off into like this was a pride thing for him. Like he was trying to like, I'm my own man. You know, She-Hulk, she literally got fired after she exposed herself as She-Hulk, could not get a job. Didn't
Yep.
matter if she even won that case. And she was like fucking living that real life. That real
Yeah,
life.
she
Like,
became a
I don't know
diversity
what I'm
hire.
gonna do.
She
And
was
And
a
Bruce
law
offered
degree.
no help. Bruce could do nothing for her.
Well, I mean, he's on a spaceship headed back to Sakaar.
Yeah.
So,
With some great CGI, by the way. Not.
yeah,
No,
this episode was definitely a little bit sketchier. Those CGI people who were complaining about time crunch were like, "Yeah, see, this is what you get from me this week."
There's no amount of OT gonna fix that.
Nah,
Nah,
But-
nah,
but-
look, the CGI aside, and I know that beyond the CGI, and everyone spent the past week getting into the timeline of when this is happening and Bruce's fucking arm. I think as far as writing goes, what the MCU has done is they've mastered the art of separating their properties. She-Hulk has managed to, in 2 episodes, stand out and become its own show. They are carving their own path. The Easter eggs in this show, the acknowledgement of shit that you didn't even think about in the MCU is very real in this show.
We finally got the Celestial being acknowledged coming out of the
Right.
ocean. After
Right.
how many movies and how many series, we finally got that acknowledged that it is there. And it's finally it wasn't even spoken, it was written.
Can,
You
can
know,
I-
Mo, go for
can I
it.
say
Mo. I
this
was,
very quickly? This was the first time we actually had an acknowledgement or tie-in to anything related to Marvel Phase 4. We got a direct tie-in to the Eternals. We got a direct tie-in to Shang-Chi. I mean, we got a direct tie-in to Marvel Phase 1 with the Incredible Hulk. You know,
but we also got the Ragnarok tie-in.
that's true.
Ragnarok. No, fuck,
Now,
wait,
Mo, one
fuck
of the
all
things
that.
that
We
bothered
got the
you-
first acknowledgement of fucking Wolverine.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Man in bar gets in fight with metal claws.
That's true.
That's
What
my-
are we talking about right now?
my concern is, please don't do the whole story that like mutants have always been here, because like now I'm scratching my head. So like Wolverine's like just been here the whole time. Mutants have been here the
Hey.
whole time.
Look,
That
everyone
might be a
doesn't want to be a
Spider-Man tie-in.
superhero.
That might be a Spider-Man tie-in. I think it is.
A
Because if
multiverse
you
tie-in.
knew that a guy with claws gets in a fight in bar, because Wolverine is always getting in a fight, his claws would have shown up somewhere some other time. So I think that might tie back to Doctor Strange. That's my guess.
Okay. Mo's always one of the biggest complaints you had about Miss Marvel was not Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, is the fact that the backdrop of California was inaccurate. You know, like when the LA part, the metro
They
when
weren't
it
in Long
came-
Beach. Yeah, they weren't downtown.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
no.
So did this look like Cali?
This is Jersey, isn't it?
No, she's
thought it
in
was
There,
Cali.
California.
She's in
Cali.
California, really?
You know what?
I thought she was
think
in
it
the Bay though.
Yeah, I thought it was more northern central California. It was not Los Angeles, so that didn't bother me per se because there'd be certain landmarks which would be sticking out. I didn't get the sense that they were in LA.
I didn't get the sense that they were in California until they kind of threw it, and I was
Me
like,
either.
"Oh, where in
Yeah,
California
we don't know
are
what
we
they
thinking?"
hell for all we know they could be in Vallejo.
Right.
Right.
No, because in my head, I'm thinking,
Good
okay,
old
so
Valley
if you're
Joe.
in Cali, then we have, then of course it makes sense for Shang-Chi tie-in.
Mhm.
For Wong. Then
Right.
But now we have a question of Ant-Man
Right?
because that's the only
don't
other
know
person
who
that's out here.
It's true.
Ant-Man, look, Ant-Man could make a
That's
fucking
okay.
appearance. You know, who knows? Who knows? The beauty of this show is, again, I love every time we get a show and it's not connected to something that we know. So we're actually along for this ride. We don't know what they're doing. Tom dropped a major bomb last week with the connection to World War Hulk, and now we see Hulk going, on a Sakaran Class A cruiser back to the fucking battle planner. For all we know, that's how this is all gonna tie in.
With great cell
Everything
service
about this
too, by the way.
episode tied into that.
You know, you said that,
Right.
and it occurred to me that just like Star Lord's Walkman that was still playing after 30
Right?
years, there's got to be some sort of omniversal cell booster communication matrix thing in that Sakaar spaceship that says we're going to convert your signals
Yes.
into warp beams that can go and then interface with some satellite.
I'm not
And
mad.
they sell batteries
I'm hating.
all over the.
I'm
the
jealous.
The
I'm
universe,
jealous.
right?
I've
They
still
sell
got
batteries for the
742,000 bars.
Look. Tom, you're
Everywhere.
wrong on this one. You're wrong. it wasn't that the batteries or the Walkman. It was the fact that those analog tapes
we're still around.
30 years.
I still got some.
Analog tapes in outer space, other atmospheres. I got a bunch of VHS tapes in my garage that have been in there for 5 years that can never be watched again.
Yeah, exactly. Melts
But
and
again,
shit.
I mean, like at certain points in time, there's some shit that I just gotta let go. I mean, if I got into the minutia of him making a phone call from a spaceship, then I also got to address that there's a Hulk on a fucking spaceship. Like, what is the argument there when everything is make fucking believe? Like at a certain point in time, if we super scrutinize and break everything down, then we become those trolls in the basement who go, well, I mean, her fucking skin was too green. It's like, what the fuck y'all doing? Like certain nerds get into
it's definitely
like some
not too
crazy
green.
shit.
Like I've said before, my only criticism of the show is the CGI. It's not a deal breaker. Just sometimes when she's walking with like normal people, it looks kind of weird.
It does.
Like, for example, when she's walking into that bar as She-Hulk, I'm like, looks a little off. But that's fine. The writing is great. Every time they did a joke, I laughed. I liked the little jab towards Ed Norton. Like
oh my god, totally different person. Yeah, that was
she
great.
even acknowledged it too. Made it stuck the dagger in deeper, going ha ha. When Jennifer was said that, I'm like, okay, that's funny. That is great. Yeah. And also, this is just personally me. Growing up as a kid, I watched the show Perfect Strangers. So when I saw Cousin Larry, I was like, yo, man, where Balky at? Let's get this party started, boys.
First of all, Will, I'd love to hear your perspective on her family, because to me, they are the worst people in the MCU.
I got a raise. You just got these powers. You're going through everything. Just lost your job, and all you need is comfort from your family. You go to the dinner, and they just hassle you the whole dinner. You can't get a word in. You just got to hear everybody's input about your life when you about to have a nervous breakdown about some shit. I'm surprised she didn't Hulk out at the dinner table.
Why is her parents telling her business to everybody in the first place?
Well, yeah, cousin Robbie, dumbass. Like,
and the dad knew he fucked up too, because he had to call her to the garage and was like, you know what?
I fucked up.
You know,
right.
You know how they are.
But let's be real.
It's interesting because, like, have we seen that before?
Tell everybody's business.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we saw that in Miss Marvel. We saw that in Miss Marvel, how when she came home to reveal her power,
they already know what's going on.
Yep. I mean, it's interesting to watch this show and see that real life and see like what would actually happen. Like, how many of our parents, if we came home fucking bulletproof skin like Luke Cage, whose parents would not be able to call somebody's aunt, somebody's uncle, and say, "Look at Mo Kelly walking around here bulletproof. He bulletproof."
Hey, look, we're gonna get you a tryout with the NFL. You gonna try out for one of these teams? You got super speed too. Come on, get over here.
Okay, let's be clear. How many of us have a cousin who'd shoot us if they found out we were bulletproof, though?
Just to try it.
I mean, just to test it. Like,
that's factual.
I thought you said you was bulletproof.
Yeah. Damn, he bulletproof as hell.
So everybody noticed that she's like a diversity hire at her new law firm.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
They just took her in.
Yes, that was intentional. They threw that in his face.
Can you be the Hulk? Can you just Hulk out? Yes.
Like little shit like that was crazy.
Oh, I have a question. Get a job. I think we should give her black card for that episode. Just for that episode. Just for that segment. She knew what it was like out there for us in that job world.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey.
So I have a question that's kind of towards Mr. T over there, Twala. So I always thought that the Abomination, he couldn't change back and forth. Am I missing something?
Nah.
In the comic books, he can't.
Yeah.
So how they explain this?
Even in the movies, he couldn't. Even in the Hulk movie, he couldn't.
I mean,
you know what? He didn't change back and forth even in the in Shang-Chi.
Well, yeah, he was only in that one scene, though.
Doesn't matter. But the point is that he went back when he walked back to his after the fight.
He got knocked out too. He still stayed Abomination.
He still stayed.
Yeah.
But
you saw the trailer though, right?
Is the new Sorcerer Supreme, so like maybe he got a spell to change him back. Maybe that's probably gonna be the explanation. I don't know.
Maybe he's a Skrull. Maybe Tim Roth, Neil Blonsky is a Skrull replacement.
Everybody's a Skrull.
Hey. Everybody,
you know what's interesting? That's actually a pretty deep point, Will, because when you notice in the trailers, at least when he does become the Abomination, it's like it happens out of nowhere. It happens even to his surprise, as if maybe there is a spell on him to make individuals see him as
Emil.
So he could possibly still look like his insides is on his outside still, but they gave him the new look, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Brian McGovney. Brian McGovney says the quiet part out loud. He can change when Tim Roth is available. Thank you, Brian.
That's pretty funny. That's really funny.
I love how Tim Roth had to make sure we understood Russian-born, British raised. It's like, yeah, we get it, Tim. You can't do accents. Got it.
But Wong has always been the dude who wants to go by the book. So it's going to be fabulous to hear how he, in this instance. Well, but I'm just saying, he's always trying to, do the right thing, and he's not the one who pushes the envelope. It's Doctor Strange that pushes the envelope. So it's going to be interesting to get this excuse as to why he's traveling back and forth and breaking him out of prison. Because even when that happened in Shang-Chi, we did ask that question, like, wait a second, why isn't that, and why would he even do this? And so what would be, I know that Ryan thinks he's trying to make money, but I think there has to be a bigger reason.
Got a racket.
for this, even though I do think that there is a need for making money, even though there is a joke about it, and because remember in Doctor Strange, was it Doctor Strange? No, Avengers Endgame. He had no money. Wong had no money to buy a sandwich.
Was broke.
Yeah, Infinity War. I remember that too.
Yeah. That's gonna be really interesting to find that out because
he really wanted that sandwich.
I mean, in Shang-Chi, we that was a huge question, and it was assumed that he was out there out and about free, but now it's like we see that he's in prison. But in the end of this show, we see that he broke out to do this fight. Is She-Hulk talking to him after? Did he go back? And what is the reason behind that? Is it part of some work release program? I'm super curious to know how the fuck that's supposed to happen.
It certainly seemed to me that her new boss knew that revelation was forthcoming, because he gave her the very brief time window to agree or disagree. He made sure she had to go out to interview him, and as soon as she called back to say, yeah, I got the job, he was like, turn on your television. So he knew what the fuck was coming. He knew. And so to me, I think that's why he wanted the super lawyer, because he knew that Blonsky had been doing this illegal shit, and he knew he needed somebody who would be able to create a compelling argument. And so we'll see. I mean, to me, it's obvious that Wong snuck him out. Now, why Wong snuck him out is a lot trickier, especially if we believe that Wong plays by the book, and of course, playing by the book in an illegal fight club with the Mandarin's daughter.
He's the Sith Lord.
Yeah, exactly.
Wong
is a man of untold depths.
His legal
depths.
argument for parole is pretty sound.
Oh no, he was making, and that's one of the great things. That's one of the great things about this show that really struck me. When he said that, you could see in Jennifer's eyes, oh, wait a minute. I can't just walk away from this because of Bruce. Like, that makes sense. She was intrigued. She leaned in.
She's broke. Well, but student loans.
But even then, it wasn't about her being broke. It wasn't about her saying, well, I need the rent money. It was about her saying, this argument makes sense. And when she called Bruce knew that she was calling to say that she was taking the job. And she was only taking the job because she thought the legal argument made sense. And, of course, her assistant, and she had that flossy-ass office.
But my question is, she never really asked how much the job paid. That was kind of like head scratching.
It paid corner office.
Yeah,
right?
Big-ass windows. That's what it paid.
You got a fridge, so you're not getting like under 100.
I would have asked.
With champagne in it.
Hey, Tom, I think you touched upon which is really important, because I was thinking, like, if you don't want to get into the minutiae, like Tuala was saying, but I was thinking they are keeping this man in some super secret facility. He never had a trial. I wonder about Fourth Amendment rights. He is in quote unquote jail. In other words, the federal government knows where he is, but he didn't have a trial, and it seems like his prison term is indeterminate in nature. It's just forever.
I mean, he did destroy Harlem.
No, he broke Harlem, but he wasn't the only participant in it, and also from what we can see,
he mentioned that.
Right.
So he said that's unfair that I'm locked up and that's
part of the whole argument, which is why she took it, which is why this show is a solid show.
Guantanamo Bay.
Okay,
so it's not like we're not the only ones that have done this before.
So why is he there at that prison, but why isn't he at the Raft where all the supervillains are?
Yeah, that was getting to me too. Why wasn't he at the Raft? That would have made more sense.
Because we assumed that he was at the Raft.
Yeah, exactly.
Facility after they broke out Captain America and all them.
That could be.
Yeah,
maybe.
True. If Captain America can break out his crew, the Raft isn't secure anymore. Fucking Cap broke in there by himself and broke out two people.
I mean, the Abomination going to sink.
Okay, let's be real though. It's underwater. It's more secure than some prison out in the middle on land.
Clearly,
the Raft.
Yeah.
It
ain't.
It clearly ain't.
I don't know, man. I doubt that's the only Raft as well. I don't know. I mean, I think there's a reason behind that. I mean, I could be wrong. My only thing also that I laughed at, and I at first I thought it was stupid until I said, you know what, this is kind of funny. It was the end credit scene, her doing nonsense shit. I was like, you know what, that's funny.
Yeah, hanging the flat screen and stuff, and the cousin saying I could do that.
Helping him change the tire.
That was funny.
If I had a superhuman person who could do all that around the house, of course I'm asking him to do
I'd be cleaning out my parents' garage.
Right. And I mean, again, that made the show real human. Like they're really trying to touch into just a different realm. I like the laughs in the show. I agree with you, Ryan. This show is funny, like laugh out loud. Like there's some shit that I actually find funny versus Thor, which was fighting for the joke. There was like a lot of like stupid funny but unnecessary funny, and there's a difference in comedy writing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like Thor may be slapstick while this is actual, comedy. Like the shit is funny. And it's like shit I'm laughing at. I'm like, that was really funny because it's true.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Big difference. I feel you on that. I'm hoping that they keep this show going. I'm hoping that all the things that we're reading about it, every week there's supposed to be another, surprise. They're like, watch the Easter eggs really, really close because this show is dropping a whole lot of foundational things for the future of the MCU.
Oh my lord!
What was that, Ryan?
Titania's a super influencer.
Hey,
that was interesting. I was glad to not see Jamila in this episode, but it's interesting that they kind of flipped it, that she wasn't actually like breaking the law so much. She was just
all the time. She got money. She's a super influencer.
Right, so she just happened to bust in.
If the lawyer thing don't work out, she might become a super influencer as well.
Well, it seems like they're trying to pal her together, especially if the Wrecking Crew comes in. It seems like she might be backup for the Wrecking Crew.
And I am so curious to see how Daredevil finds his way onto She-Hulk.
You, me both.
In the sense of just because of you get that, but just because of the location, like I wouldn't expect Daredevil to
Northern Cali,
jump up in California,
San Jose, baby. Come on.
No, wait a minute. Now, where's her family from?
Asshole
I guess
town.
her family must be from the Bay too. I don't know.
Somewhere
that part of Northern California where they're just
her family's West Coast. That's what I mean.
Yeah. I don't know. So that's gonna be really interesting because you're right, Liz. Why is Daredevil on the West Coast? Why would he be out there?
And wearing the corny ass gold and red costume.
Oh, come on, man! Look that bad.
I don't like that original costume.
I don't give a fuck. It's the original.
That costume was whack. that original costume was whack.
Hold on, guys. Brian McGovney says that Daredevil would probably show up as opposing counsel.
Why? That doesn't make sense either because he's a defender.
Maybe he's representing clients that were in the Harlem Rampage.
Yeah. Yes.
That.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Tom.
That makes sense.
Damn it.
Abomination.
Wow.
He could
Hey,
do that.
Just give me
So
Luke
then she
Cage,
goes to
goddammit.
New
It just
York.
got real.
So then
Give
she
me
would
Luke
go to
Cage.
New York, right?
Yes, we would.
She would go to New York.
Golly.
Mm,
I need my
Now you're
cage, man.
now, Tom.
mm.
Hey,
That's a
Tom.
great
Hey, you dug
idea.
deep on that one. Hey,
I mean-
someone quote Tom. That shit was fire.
I'm
Yes.
trying to put the connections together. We know he's going to be in there, so it's got to be. And if we presume it's law, because Daredevil is not a person who goes like to other places. He's Hell's
Right.
Kitchen. That's his
Yeah.
zone. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't make sense for him to be out on the West Coast. So it just makes sense that it would need to be something related to something that has happened in the past. And since they've spent so much time setting up the Abomination stuff, it just makes sense that if it happens, I mean, it may not. They may just play games with where he usually is at. But it just seems to me that that's a good opportunity to bring the law
what
into
about
it.
this? Now, I'm Mephistoing myself. I know that. What about this? What if you have then, since you have Daredevil and you already have the explicit tie-in to Spider-Man No Way Home? What if, you know where I'm going with this, Tom?
You have the. Okay, go ahead.
You have them. You have to go back to New York. And shit, I just lost my thought. Just like that, I'm getting old.
No, get it back.
There'll be an explicit tie-in to Spider-Man No Way Home because we already know Daredevil was representing Peter.
Yes.
Mhm.
I mean,
So-
they could. I'm trying to remember if there's anything.
And Wong. Don't forget.
Oh, wait a
Wong.
minute. What if they take this opportunity to introduce something about the Venom blob that's left in
No, please no.
I don't want it
Right.
either. I'm just trying to.
That was in Mexico, right?
Was it Mexico?
It's not
I
a
thought
Cali.
It was a
It-
tropical place.
like Puerto Vallarta or some shit like that.
It could be because, but
Mexico.
remember where Bruce's bar was.
Right, in Mexico.
Mexico.
Right.
Throw that away. Throw that
Well.
idea away.
I don't listen. I don't like
Don't
none of the
manifest
Sony
that one.
shit. I'm just saying, it's Morbin time.
Look,
I
you
like that idea.
had Daredevil in two places. We know that from Spider-Man No Way Home and also She-Hulk. So it would make sense that they would have a direct connectivity there.
Hmm.
That's probably
Yeah.
the inflection point.
I mean, it could be. I mean, I could see because remember in the end of Daredevil, he had left the firm with Foggy. He was just out
Right.
there representing. Actually, he wasn't fucking representing anyone. You know, he had talked about picking up being a lawyer again and doing something. If he's representing vigilantes and she's having to try one, she's going after one, and they have to cross paths in court, and then after court he has to step to her like, let me see if you're really on the up and up. They have
I
a
feel
classic, superhero dust up. I think that Tom's theory is the most concise theory of because of Blonsky, because she's representing Blonsky, and if that has a tie-in to a suit against Blonsky from New York, that would
Right.
bring him to the West Coast to be a part of that trial. Like I am Matt Murdock
Yo.
representing, New York, Hell's Kitchen, fucking Harlem, where this dude destroyed
I think
shit.
it's better
and
if
I've been
she
brought
went
on.
to New York,
Yes.
because if she's in New York, then where the actual incident takes place, which is
Mhm.
typically what, then I was thinking that Mo was going to go down. Maybe there's a tie-in to Hawkeye, because if we see
Does Hawkeye leave his arrows everywhere?
That was the
Yeah.
best.
Hey,
Right?
hey, yeah, there
and
was
so
that.
if you see Daredevil, then we may see a Mr. Kingpin or something that does a more of a direct tie into that's where I was thinking that Mo was going if he's in.
Well, I mean, once you have Spider-Man and once you have Daredevil, then Kingpin has to be around. He has to be.
And we've
Well,
already seen
Kingpin
him.
has to
isn't
be
he
around
just a
Daredevil's
kingpin in
around,
the East
definitely.
Coast in New York?
Yeah, but I'm saying if Spider-Man, that's New York. Daredevil, that's New York. So Kingpin, we know, is on the lam, on the loose, doing whatever.
And we've already seen him in Hawkeye.
Right, with that
Man.
funky ass Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
Look, in Born Again, we've already seen screenshots. He's back in the white suit, Mo. He's back. All right.
Okay,
He's
I'm
back. He's
better
back
now.
in
Yeah,
classic
clean
form.
cut kingpin.
Black shirt. Okay.
Yes, black shirt, white suit. He has the dope cane.
Keeping it pimping.
And he looks super gangster.
The only complaint that I have about She-Hulk is too short. It's just too short.
That gets you on there. Yeah.
Yeah, they only said she's what, 6'7", 6'5"?
No, it's 6'7".
Length of the episodes.
The episodes.
That too. I mean, it was only like 30 minutes. With trail.
Oh, they're like
with
4 minutes with 7 minutes of credits.
Get out of here with
that. Which does not count.
If they keep it this short, then you might as well just wait and then binge it all at the end.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I feel you on that. I can't binge in the end because I'd miss everything and I'd be pissed off because anytime you go on fucking line, there were like a million different She-Hulk posts on it. Similar to the spoilers that went all out about the Game of the Dragons, which I did not watch the Dragon show, The Return of the Dragons.
House of the Dragon is the tech. I'm just calling it Game of Dragons. I don't care.
Yeah. You just mixing everything together.
All right, so Tom, did you watch it?
Yeah, I did watch it.
All right, who all watched the Dragon show?
15 minutes.
Okay. Mo only got 15 minutes. Tom saw
I watched. I sat through the whole thing.
All right, Will, did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch it. Yeah.
Liz?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, all right. So Liz and Tom then. Tell us about the Dragons. I refuse. I'm not watching any of this shit. I'm just not, dude. I'm not watching it in the end when it's bingeable. I'm not. There's nothing that's happening in the past of dragons, the building of the throne, the silver-haired people and the incest and the violence. I don't care. I'm good. But what did you think?
So okay. Like when they make the direct-to-video sequel of The Lion King.
Oh,
and it's like
Simba's Pride.
It's like extra bootleggy, and like the throne, the Iron Throne, is now like a whole ass like entertainment center of melted swords. It's
got longer. It's like a whole.
It's so wide. It's like a whole like thing, and there is not a single actor in this show that has the charisma of any of the actors in the original show. They're just whack, and it's like I'm not a person who is upset at diversity in shows. I'm not, but how they got this coal black brother with the silver dreads,
black.
and he's not a Targaryen. He's a lord.
Is he a
and
servant?
No.
He's not a servant.
No, he sits on the High Council, and he's married to the older sister of the current king.
Oh, so that's how he got in.
That's how he got in. He's married, and he has 2 kids by the queen who are direct blood descendants of the Targaryen line, and she was refused the opportunity to be the queen at the beginning of the show. That was the backstory, and she hella salty about that.
Because she married him. Shit.
Well, no. She was married to him when they passed her over. So there's the current king Viserys, and then there's the douchebag brother who's like basically the just the asshole, like the Cersei kind of character, and then you got the sister who's kind of like the Elena Terrell kind of, I'm gonna sit in the cut and wait until people die so I can slip up in that bitch. And then her husband, who's like, look, we got 2 kids, and they're Targaryen blood. Like, what the problem is? And so the douchebag brother is the guy who's doing all the raping and the sex stuff. There's no sex stuff in this except for the douchebag brother, and he's running around killing people. He's the head of the Gold Cloaks.
Is that the dude who was in Morbius?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Morbin time.
So he went from douchebag to douchebag.
Oh yeah. No, he's no. His douchebaggery started in The Crown. Because he was Prince Philip in The Crown. So he went Prince Philip douchebag to Morbius douchebag to Targaryen douchebag. And so he's just the douchebag. And so they've even got a Shay character who's like the I would say the sex worker with the heart of gold, but she ain't even got a heart of gold. She's scheming. She just straight up trying to make sure she gets up into the palace. And then you've got lazy Littlefinger as the king, and he really wants to have kids, a male heir, but he can't get him a male heir, and he's fucking his cousin or whatever. That's his cousin wife, and it's just,
right?
it's just not good. Whereas you had Sean Bean and Lena Headley and and the Kit Harington and all of those people, all these really good, compelling actors. It's a much smaller,
Peter Dinklage,
Peter Dinklage. It's a much smaller, intimate cast so far. There is nobody as good as Varys. There's nobody as good as Peter Dinklage. There's nobody as good as there's just nobody's as good.
Forgettable to me. I mean,
they are, and it's like people just like the douchebag is just the douchebag, and nobody cares that he's the douchebag because he's a Targaryen and he's blonde, I guess, and tall.
Have there been any dragons yet?
Oh yes,
yeah, of course.
Oh, the dragons are great. They look exactly the same.
Here's the issue. Cool. I have 3 points of issue. Number one, I do also have a concern about diversity. I am all for diversity, but please don't stop putting trying to put us in places that we weren't there.
We weren't there, Liz.
And this keeps happening.
Fantasy, though. But it's a fantasy. When you say we weren't there, it's not a historical.
We didn't even show up though in Game of Thrones in the way that they're so how in the world did this man become especially since he's a darker skinned man. You would have had to had multiple bleeding multiple generations of marrying white guys
flying around. I don't care that he has white hair. They're dragging.
Well, and he is old. He is so it could be that he's just old. I didn't get the impression that we were meant to believe he was some Targaryen cousin or something. Although he could have been the scion of a previous intermarriage or whatever. I don't know. The people in Dorne were not as dark as they were supposed to be in the original series. He only had one character in the original series who was like blackety black, and he got locked in the fucking cave and locked in the.
But there is a point that they do this because there were the complaints of the lack of diversity in Game of Thrones, and so you just throw this guy in to try to be like, oh, people will be more interested in watching us, and it subside from all the complaints because you have diversity, but the diversity doesn't make sense.
It was definitely weird. You had Missandei, who came in as her as Daenerys's little servant chick. You had Grey Worm, who is mixed-ish and is playing Louis in the new the eunuch, and he's playing Louis in Interview with the Vampire. Silky Lettuce wants to know, they about to call this House to Train Your Dragon.
Hey, ain't that the funniest shit?
It might as well be because it's really not a great show.
But this leads to the second problem. It's a prequel. So the prequel is we know where this ends. And I will say that for me, the only reason why I don't mind it is because it made me understand more of what happened in Game of Thrones. And so it's okay, I'm going to continue. But it doesn't lead me to want to go back and watch all of Game of Thrones again because there's other things I could do on my time.
But you can't ever watch Game of Thrones again because the last 2 quote unquote seasons were utter trash. So it's I will say this. I agree, Liz. I'm definitely not compelled to get back into Game of Thrones from Game of Dragons. I'm just not.
But I understood it more, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, now I understand why some aspects of it. The third thing is, they declared that they're not going to get as ridiculous and gory as they were in Game of Thrones, which is the thing that made Game of Thrones so captivating. However, but then you decide to start your first episode with the most horrendous
that was brutal
birth scene. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I want to see, but I know I don't want to see her ripped in half when she has a baby and blood all over the place. It's
you sold it for me. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, no, it's they basically they have it's a C-section, and you'd think that they didn't have any knives to do anything else.
They used a sword.
They used the jawbone of a donkey.
When I tell you, I was like, yo, can't you just like slice it and reach in and pull it? It was like, and she was like, hey, babe, what's the ripping? Why am I being ripped? Wait, what?
And then the show was all the blood and the gore. And
then the baby dies after all that bullshit.
All of it.
And that's what, like, the dad just crushed it. And this is what leads to, this is the one thing that's kind of interesting. They lead to his daughter, his eldest daughter, him naming her as the successor, which means, of course, douchebag uncle is going to be trying to plot to get her out the picture and blah, 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 and blee, 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 and blue, blue, blue. Whatever. It's just not.
He's going to try to marry her.
That birthday scene.
Oh God, please no! I cannot even with that. It's
he probably will because that's the type of show it is. That's what made me.
Oh, it is.
That show is incest prominent.
Yeah, this is like worse than Annie and Padme though. She's like 13 and
they don't seem to
he's
care.
like 35. It's gross. I hope they don't do that.
No, but no, wasn't the little short funny looking girl 13 when she lost her warrior virginity in the other
Who
one?
you talking about, Arya?
The Momoa?
Yeah. Wasn't she like 13 and a
no,
warrior?
Oh, you're talking about Daenerys when she married Khal Drogo?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, she ain't look 13 though. I don't think she was meant to
Brian,
be.
This is the
she was a
problem
grown ass woman by the time the show happened. That was only 3 years later or whatever.
Yes, Brian, this is a problem with the show. The problem with the show is we know the ending. Cersei does become the first queen of King's Landing.
Yeah, Rocky says he's going to wait till the end and binge it. I don't know, Rocky. This is not a bingeable show. I will tell you, I think the pacing of one episode a week is fine because it gives me long enough to forget how much I was disinterested in it, and I'll probably just watch it out of like characteristic completism because that's kind of what I do. Mm-hmm. I will say that the bonus episodes of Sandman were actually pretty good.
Hey, you know what?
Yes,
I got into that late, and I've been hooked on that damn show. It is one of the better DC shows that has ever been released.
Thank you.
Okay, look.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, it's like for me on the list of shows, you know, I would go Watchmen, probably Peacemaker, and then Sandman. Of all the DC shows that have been released.
But in defense of Sandman is better. Watchmen wasn't adapting material. The Watchmen show was like brand new shit out of a person who brought their own creative impetus to it. He had some characters in it, but this one is adapting. Neil Gaiman has said that, you know, basically we got through the first 400 pages of the comics and we've still got, you know, like 2,200 pages to go with all of the spin-offs and all that other stuff. And so, because people were like, you know, are you going to write stuff that's not in the comics with these characters? And it's like, we got a lot of stuff left that we can explore. And he even said, I wasn't sure when I started writing the comic book if DC was going to let me finish it. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish even the material that we have. Mm-hmm. But if you watch it, if you haven't gotten through the end and you haven't watched the episodes, the animation in Dreams of a Thousand Cats is really interesting. It's like rotoscope, but it's also CGI-ish. It's really interesting because cats are the characters. Okay. It's really good. And then the Calliope episode is outstanding.
Okay, but no, dude, the damn death episode is probably one of the best episodes of anything DC has ever done.
Oh,
any series that DC has ever done, that death episode had me bawling. Should not have watched that at all. I was not in the right headspace. I didn't know what they were about to do. Episode had me all the way fucked up.
I felt so bad for that footballer.
Oh,
I was like, if you only knew, bro.
Man.
she said, I'll see you later. I was like, oh, damn.
Oh, no. I was like, oh, man. But then when she saw him later, I was like, I'm done. I don't, oh, fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about how the big dude with the dreads died. That was
right when he came out the water. Oh, man.
Yeah, he came out the water like, let me just get my information to my wife.
I got to get her the codes to my phone. Oh,
yeah, that was extra foul. She was killing a lot of brothers.
The baby though, the baby.
Oh, the baby was
like
the
this.
worst.
This is all the time you get.
Right.
Oh man, it was rough.
Yeah, Rocky says it'll be an L for Netflix if we don't get a second season. I agree. This is an exceptional show. I know it's probably expensive, but thankfully you're not spending a whole bunch of money on the actors because they're mostly kind of low-key kind of actors, except for not Thulis, whoever Lupin was.
David Thewlis, yeah.
Oh, it is him. Okay. Yeah. So,
yeah.
but he's gone now, so we don't have to worry about him anymore.
Well, the guest of the program.
Oh, see?
Now see, the only danger with this show is because the cast is, without even trying to make a point of it, the cast is extremely diverse.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at I don't know the actress's name, but she was a part of the Batgirl cast. And when she started talking shit about recently, now this is in the past couple of days, she's talking shit about all the pushback about the film being too woke. And now you have a story coming out about David Zavalov, the new cat who's in charge of Warner Discovery, saying that when it comes to future projects, DC is looking to steer clear of leftist political ideas and just stick to the script of the comic story. Don't know if this is 100% true, but if you look at all of the shit that they've been cutting, all the series that were cut on HBO Max were all shows that had to do with people of color or people from the LGBTQ community. A lot of the shows that they're keeping, that they're moving forward with, are not. They're more straight-laced shows. All the shit that was on the CW, when they decided to go on and cut that and not bring them over to HBO Max, which they have done with, say, Smallville or Superman and Lois. There are some shows they brought over, other shows that they have decided they are not going to, which leads me to believe that DC may be looking at straightening their arrow and getting more in line with heroes coming from Kansas.
I mean, the problem with that premise, though, is that there's a whole cohort of people in the nerdverse who are very pro LGBTQ representation. Yes. I mean, they're definitely
Wonder Woman?
Well, but this is what I'm saying. And so, you know, there are iconic people and people in the LGBTQ community who feel seen by some of the things that are being experienced, either from the generalized alienation of certain heroes or whatever. You know, this is the wrong group. This is not the Homelander crew. This is you're talking about the general audience, and you know, I don't know anybody personally who's like, oh man, Black Lightning's daughter shouldn't have been gay. I mean,
no, but see, fans of Black Lightning love the show. But then conversely, you look at Homegirl from Teen Titans, who literally had to cancel all of her social media.
You're talking about
what's her name? About being Starfire.
Yeah,
you have a lot of people, even Homegirl who played Thunder, who said that when she came out or when it was discovered that she was lesbian on the show, the hate mail that she got, this is another sister, and that it was not a pretty thing for her. There is a deep, ugly underbelly to the nerd world that DC could easily, without saying it, can just do it by streamlining their shows and making Superman, making Aquaman, making Batman, and just excluding some of the characters that say Marvel is like, hey, come one, come all. DC could really do that because their heroes have a more homogenous American background. Especially their heroes Superman. Are all just these all American heroes. You know, Green Lantern, I'm a hero because I believe in myself. Shit like that. And they can go with that through line all they want. I mean, we'll see. They're also, on the flip side, they're fighting tooth and nail to keep this motherfucker Ezra Miller involved.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
There's no saving that. There's none.
He's literally they're setting up meetings with him. Why are you setting up meetings with this dude who has literally shit the proverbial bed of the Flash?
Okay, so just to stay on the proper woke, meeting with them, or meeting with Ezra.
Correct.
I don't know what Ezra's deal is, because I don't care. You don't get to, on the one hand, be grooming 13-year-olds and then be talking about, oh, but I'm sorry, let me do press for my movie. No, that don't work, bro. Like, I don't get, like,
there is a breadcrumb trail.
Yeah,
of the
no,
shit
it's
he's done.
Yeah.
In the newspaper.
There's more.
Oh yeah.
oh no, there's definitely more. Him and Jared Leto. Oof.
Them and Jared Leto.
Them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get your woke on.
Them and Jared Leto and Kevin Spacey.
Right.
Oh yeah, Kevin Spacey just went to trial, didn't he?
Something like
out
that.
there in England, though. I think he's out there in England doing it there.
Yeah.
So
Harvey
I don't know,
Weinstein,
between them announcing that they are meeting with Ezra, they being the WB Discovery, meeting with Ezra to discuss the future of the Flash, and then on the same week saying we are pushing Aquaman all the way back to the end of 2023. I'm like, what is the point of watching it at that point? At that point, you push this film back that far. What's the point?
So Shazam is now in Aquaman's original slot, right?
Yes.
In early 2023.
In May. Yeah, May of 2023. Yes.
Right. Okay.
Because
he was supposed to go against Avatar.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So at a certain point in time, there's no point of watching these films. It's like you've pushed these films back time and time and time again. They're not really reshooting them. They're just pushing them back.
You're gonna seem dated,
what?
like Venom.
Well, yeah. Oh my God.
Oh.
Ooh.
Rather than sending an email, you're just leaving a letter.
Yes.
With the physical phone.
With a physical phone.
I've got this. I've just received a telegram from the old world. I've gotten a cable.
Something's coming over the wireless.
Look, it's a raven who's dropped me a screw.
He fucking broke into a building to leave a physical phone
with
a picture on it on a desk with a handwritten note.
Yes.
That's anybody could not
film
have seen that.
Came out in the 80s or was shot in the 80s.
I just do not understand.
Yeah, all of that is a problem.
2012.
And at a certain point, like they've also announced that the Robert Pattinson films will never have any tie-in to the future of the DCEU, which is fine, but they're saying that this is just going to be a 3-film thing, kind of like they did with the Dark Knight trilogy. This will be a Batman Begins, if you want, trilogy, and then they're done. And so again, what is the point of us investing any time in that franchise when it's not going anywhere? It's not connecting to a larger universe.
I have an answer to that. Zoe Kravitz.
But
okay, all right, that is
in Warner Brothers, in their defense, though, they did say that long ago that their standalone films would have different actors than their
TV shows.
No.
He's talking about
their main
what used to be the Snyderverse.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. They're what the hell? The group films would have different actors in the standalone films. They said that. They said that years ago.
But that is so
movie with a different Superman and different Aquaman and so forth.
That's stupid.
Well, I mean, they said it. It didn't make sense then. It doesn't make sense now, but that is what they said.
But then the solo Flash movie actually does feature the Flash.
Some characters, not all of them.
And the Aquaman movie features
that's
Momoa.
Snyderverse.
That's Snyderverse.
And that also features now Ben Affleck Batman.
Right.
Snyderverse.
So
it's not a standalone film.
I wish DC could stop pretending like they've got a master plan to be more successful than Marvel and just say, you know what, we're deleting all of the hard drives, forget about it. Crisis on Infinite Earths happened, and now this is what it is. We're just going to do some fresh new shit. And maybe Gal is still going to be able to do Wonder Woman because she's still young enough and still looks like Wonder Woman. Just get rid of Ezra. If Henry Cavill's being a prick, get rid of him. I don't know that I think Batman or Batfleck is the best choice. Pattinson is not the best choice for a combined universe at all, unless his character grows up a lot, which is possible because the Batman was like year one, so or year two technically. So I guess if you wanted to bring him in and he was more like a grown-up Batman, then fine. But this is just a mess. It is just a mess. The best thing out of it was Peacemaker. That's the only thing we've gotten that has been like unqualified enjoyable.
By a lot.
Oh, by a ton. Yeah. By a shit ton. And unfortunately the DC
movie. Who? I like the Harley Quinn. I like that Harley Quinn movie.
Sure. I mean, it was that
Birds of Prey?
Yeah.
Birds of Prey. You're talking about the Birds of Prey movie. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it also wasn't great.
Yeah. Well, it was a lot better than a lot of these other things.
It was good for what it was.
Yeah, it was just, but it was it was small scale, which probably worked in its favor because it was the only DC movie that did not have a world-ending threat in it.
Right.
So that helped to make it good. And people liked Margot Robbie, although not enough to sell enough tickets for it to be successful. And, I'm glad Journey Smollett got a check, but,
it wasn't worth them investing into a sequel.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
And now they had the funeral showing of Batgirl, which happened this week. And it's just like, I don't know. When you look at what Marvel has done with characters starting off the franchise with a character that was considered D-list. He was never D-list to me. I was always an Iron Man fan.
Right.
But as far as popular culture was concerned, and what they have done with their franchise by caring about story, by caring about characters, by caring about plot, by caring about connectivity, versus what DC is doing or is not doing, is just staggering. And if DC had 5 HBO Max series that were a part of the DCEU, if they had 5 pacemakers, then you could push back Aquaman and push back Shazam, and nobody would give a fuck. You don't have anything.
Nothing.
And you're canceling all the content that could have satisfied people.
Or dumbasses. It wasn't going to satisfy, but it would just
utilize their TV properties to propel the movie.
Right, but they're not.
They could have.
Because they're totally disconnected.
Just stick to the TV shows.
I wasn't a fan of their TV shows like that either. And to your point, Twala, about what you were saying before, one of the actors off the Superman and Lois, or whatever it's called, quit because his character was embracing the bi young Superman storyline, and he didn't like that.
Yeah, he didn't like that at all. Yeah.
So
he was like, I'm not going to do that.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
the show is crap anyway.
No, it's not a great show.
Look, I mean, this
Legends
nothing
Around the
can
World,
defend
crap.
What's happening with the CW shows and how they've fallen way by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
The utter travesty that is Warner Brothers Discovery. And it's frustrating because they really do have really good legacy characters. They do. They just have never figured out how to turn these stories into proper television or film content. The main reason why is because their stories are built on heroes with no actual lives. Later on in the comic books, they started writing, these deeper stories into, Superman, Truth, Justice in the American way, or whatever. The Truth and Justice, I think the story was, they start trying to get into Superman caring about what's going on in the community and shit like that. But the X-Men were always hunted and oppressed. Spider-Man was always worried about being bullied when he wasn't swinging around on the web. He was Peter Parker and he was being shitted on by his boss. Iron Man was drunk. Captain America was living a damn fucking senior citizen's life and trying to
wait a minute. To be fair, Captain America fucks.
Living a damn Captain America does fuck. But I'm saying it's really tough when you think about
to be fair,
all the different things. Captain America does fuck. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, Lovejoy, let me say this about The Flash. It is it was a decent TV show for a while, and the last
then it
few
shit
seasons
itself.
they have just showed up and do whatever. I mean, it is just a
said do
hard
whatever.
watch.
I mean, the issue with DC is, unlike Marvel that has characters where Marvel writers and Marvel comic creators were taking stories of real life people and trying to throw a cape on them and trying to give you a story about what it would be like. There was always this mixture of real life struggle in being a hero. That's why fucking Peter Parker was a struggling photographer who lived in a damn apartment, and never came up. It's one of those things where when you have someone like Superman, who's this almighty, all powerful, super successful, I've always got the scoop reporter, who in real life is relating to that? Who in real life is actually relating to Batman's story? No one. There is no real characters within the DC universe. You know what I'm saying? It's really, really rough. I mean, the only real characters that I'd say the DC universe has ever really had came from the Milestone universe. When they launched Milestone, everyone lost their mind, because it was like, finally some fucking characters that I can relate to, some people that could be living in my neighborhood. Bruce Wayne could never live in my neighborhood. Never in his life.
He could buy
Wonder Woman could never live in my neighborhood.
And then live in it.
It's just, to me, that's why it's hard for DC to create stories about real life characters when their characters have only ever been superheroes. They've never been people. X-Men, they've gone to the store shopping. There was a whole issue of X-Men where they went to the damn store shopping.
That's why Black Lightning this first season and then the last season were just wonderful. That season in the middle, not the greatest, but that was relatable.
But they here's how they flipped Black Lightning. They flipped Black Lightning, the series, by creating and putting the Black struggle on television and wrapping it around this superhero show from a Black superhero within their universe. In the comic book, you never really saw any of that struggle. You never really saw that life of Jefferson Pierce in the comic book. The story that they gave us, yes, it makes perfect sense. And that's why we related. We were like, finally, this is dope. This dude just happens to have powers. That's very, very different from Luke Cage, someone who was in prison, was experimented on, and is out there using his powers to make a hustle. Working with Iron Fist, Heroes for Hire, that's an entirely different story. And someone who does not wear a mask. Everyone knows who Luke Cage is. Everyone knows who Iron Fist is. Danny Rand, he's just a rich dude, but it's not like, haha, let me put on my mask and now I'm Iron Fist. It's like, no, I'm always Iron Fist. I'm always Tony Stark. And everyone knows I'm Iron Man now. In the beginning, yes, I tried to lie and say that was my bodyguard, but now everyone knows me. That is the difference between the Marvel comic universe that was based on people who you could see Steve Rogers, who everyone knew, walking down the street and say, hey, fucking Captain America. He's a real dude.
He was
no one knows who Batman is.
Jogging around the mall in DC too. You can see him literally any given day in DC.
And the other thing about Danny Rand is that nobody liked him. And
nobody liked him.
His fighting was
nobody.
Yes,
so
yes,
he was trash.
He was trash.
I'd rather see Colleen Wing as the new Iron Fist.
Come on, don't attack Iron Fist without Ryan being here.
Oh no, that's exactly why I'm attacking it. Hi Ryan, when you listen back to this, clench your teeth in anger, bro.
I still think we're gonna get. I'm still waiting on the Jessica Jones drop.
Boo.
Oh, I'm not.
You know what? Now watching the series, I don't know why that would make sense. Just watching the series, I originally thought the series was going in a different direction, and now watching it, I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't think that Jessica Jones things would happen anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know, just the setting of it being in California. If it was maybe in New York, that would make more sense. But right now,
but she's going to go to. I think I'm a believer
coming to the West Coast.
I think she's going to the East Coast.
That would be. Wouldn't that be hot if we took Tom's theory that there's going to be this massive lawsuit or continuing lawsuit because of the events in Harlem. That could give you any number of reasons to introduce characters. If you need a private eye to investigate for the purposes of the lawsuit, you could have a Jessica Jones, in theory, walk into Matt Murdock's office.
Yeah.
Conceivably, if they want to get really jiggy with it, with all the Easter eggs, they could do it. So, I mean, I think that's a lower hurdle for them to jump over. If they want Jessica Jones in there, they can put her in there and they can make it make sense. I
still think that I still think that she should have been in Hawkeye. I think that was a missed opportunity to drop her into Hawkeye, because she could have easily worked with that firm, her her mother's firm, because the mother's firm she was hired by the firm, in Jessica Jones. I thought that it would have been a nice little
But
thing.
what would she have been investigating?
Because that's what she was doing. She was investigating insecurities in the last season of Jessica Jones. And so it would have been an interesting thing that if she didn't know that she was working for, the girl's mother. But I would have been interested in seeing her just been a drop in there. I thought it was a missed opportunity, but I don't care because I don't like Jessica Jones anyway.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm perfectly happy to see her fall off. Real quick, did anybody check out Bullet Train?
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
You saw it?
It's been a long
we talked about it last week.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. I'm sorry.
I guess we didn't get into spoilers.
Yeah, no, because we didn't. I hadn't seen it.
Okay. And
I definitely want to. Look, it's just been a long week, man.
No, I understand. I'm not hating you.
Liz is the only one who had a good week this week.
Yeah.
Only one.
Only one.
Shit. Beyond all this magnificence that we've discussed and been talking about, Liz, what you watching on TV that's on Apple TV?
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Introduce us to the latest.
Well, C is back.
Yeah, the final season of C.
Praise the Lord.
Go watch it.
They made it just for you.
Like C.
Aha.
That's the only thing you watching, Liz?
Episode. Yeah, it's the only thing that's out. It's the first episode of the season, and it's just there.
Okay. Is Batista in it?
Yes, but I still don't like. I don't like. Can he see or can he not see? He cannot see.
He cannot.
I do not like the premise of the show. So therefore,
okay, wait. I just have one more question. Can Jason Momoa see?
No.
That's the whole point.
I thought the whole point was that he's the only dude that can see.
No, I thought it was some little girl who could see, maybe, or something.
It's his two. He raised these other person's kids, who happens to be. Those are the two people that can see, and then, and so they're trying to develop a bunch of, there's a fight over let's kill the people who can see. And whereas others are trying to multiply with the people who can see. And
but you said that there's two little girls, right? What?
It's a boy and a girl. So the boy actually had sex with his aunt
Targaryen
and produced the kid.
I'm never watching this show ever. We're good.
It's a lot. I'm so
we don't know if the kid can see, which was another birthing scene that I didn't need to see. But to each his own.
Nope. I'm out. I'm out on that.
Show. I'm not advocating anyone watch this show. I'm just glad that it's ending. So I'm going to finish it since I've already seen it.
What about you, Tom?
Well, the thing that I'm going to advise everybody to watch this weekend unreservedly is 3,000 Years of Longing.
Really?
I had not realized how many of George Miller's movies I have actually seen because I didn't the name is kind of generic, and he's done kind of like a very weird, twisted path of movies that he has directed, some of which he's also produced. So you recognize the name from Mad Max, and Mad Max Fury Road kind of put him back on the map. After, but he also directed Babe and Babe Pig in the City, and nice. He does a lot with modern kind of fables, and I didn't like it. It just never occurred to me that the guy who directed Mad Max and The Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome and all of this would also direct Babe. But it makes sense when you look at a movie like 3,000 Years of Longing, because it's a story about fables and a love story about love stories, and the visuals are just stunning. I never would. He has an intro at the beginning of the film, and he says, thank you for coming to see this in the theater like it was intended. And I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. And you see, he's an older white dude. And so when you see the images that he puts on screen, I was just like, wow, this dude did this? And I was describing it to one of my friends. I said, imagine a Steven Spielberg movie, like when you saw Close Encounters or E.T. as a kid, and imagine how that made you feel. This is a movie like that, but designed for adults. It's smart. It is moving. It is visually dazzling. It has amazing themes. And when I tell you, the Queen of Sheba, I don't know how many women he had to look at before he cast this sister, but she bad.
There were some scenes of Queen of Sheba that is just gorgeous.
But Tom, the commercials and the trailers don't convey virtually any of what you're saying.
They don't. Yeah, no. You would think, and it's a very, very bad idea. The big tagline you're getting out of the reviews are, it's Aladdin for grown-ups. It is not.
That's literally how I described it to my daughter.
It is not.
I thought it was a genie movie.
It is. It is. He's a djinn. He's a djinn, and he doesn't have a name. His name is just Jinn. But the 3,000 Years of Longing, it relates to the fact that he's a djinn. All of the people who discovered him and had wishes were women, and in various ways he loved them. So he started off with Sheba, and he loved Sheba, and Sheba was part jinn, and he got imprisoned because Solomon was jealous of him and what he meant to Sheba. So that's when he got locked away the first time. And then he got opened up, and there was this slave girl, and the slave girl da-da-da-da-da. And so he's telling the story, and a lot of it the first two acts take place in a hotel room with like flashbacks. And so it's very constrained. And Tilda Swinton, of course, as an actor, is a very, very inside her own skin, self-contained actor. And literally the first two acts, she is 90% of the first two acts in a fucking robe, because she's in her hotel room with Idris Elba as a genie, and it's them talking.
Can I interject? Wait, you're telling too much of the story. But I will say that
I don't mind. He's selling me on it.
Fantastic.
It's amazing.
Like, it's his acting in this was so good.
He has never been better. Never has he been better. And both of them, I guarantee, both of them are getting Oscar nominations for lead actor.
Whoever spent this money to promote this movie needs to be fired, because I'm not getting any of those vibes.
The promotion of this film so far, I'm like, this film looks like trash.
I would say the same thing about Bullet Train. Bullet Train
misrepresented its film as well. But Bullet Train is starring Brad Pitt, and it was clear from the trailers that there's humor in it and there's action in it. And so from that part, they didn't misrepresent it. They absolutely misrepresented the depth and the richness of the story of Bullet Train. And I'm telling you, if you got a lady, take your lady to see 3,000 Years of Longing.
If you like her.
Well, yes, if you like
her.
A
lot. If you don't like her, a lot.
Well, I'm taking mine because I love her.
Conversation.
Yes. Amen.
Yeah, it is amazing. And they screwed up the marketing, because I was intrigued by the concept. And so I was going to go see it anyway, especially because I'm A-list and I didn't have to pay. But what got me out to see it last night was it said 3,000 Years of Longing opens on the 26th. And I was like, oh, snap. That means it's probably open tonight. Let me go see if I can go see it. And I went to a 7:50 show. It is astonishingly good. It is very, very good. And the Queen of Sheba, the representation of black folks on film, the way his gaze as a cinematographer focuses on that sister's lips and her neck, and It's amazing. It is
And her makeup was
amazing.
so good.
The makeup was
so
amazing.
good.
I mean, it was, man.
It made her
look.
shimmer.
Yeah, she
And
glowed.
she was a very dark
And she chocolate. Ooh.
chocolate complexion,
Lord
and
Jesus.
they had hints of gold, so she
Yeah.
shimmered a lot.
And the lips were just.
It was nice.
You would not. You cannot believe. And as a person who has watched Idris Elba in things like Luther, where he's playing like the the London tough detective, and Stringer Bell, where he's playing like a Baltimore thug with an unmistakable soft British accent because he doesn't do accent work very well. He is so good in this. He is so good. And the way they do the resolution, because given the nature of what you've learned in the story, it's not going to have I'm not going to say anything else.
Okay. Don't say
Go
nothing.
see the movie.
All right.
Go
right.
see it. You'll be absolutely blown away, because it's not what you expect, and it's everything you want
sold me.
without
You
knowing.
sold me
It's
on
And I'm
very
gonna tell
wanting
you
to
that
see Bullet
it
Trail.
is
You sold me on
it
that.
is the best version that I've seen of just them turning into going into the bottle, like the notion of going
The
into the
special
bottle,
effect.
like that is the best that I've ever seen when it comes to a genie.
And it's familiar, but at the same time fresh. That whole genie thing, because even from I's Dream of Genie, you saw smoke coming out of a bottle. But the way they do it is really cool. And when he puts himself in the bottle where he emerges from at the start of the movie, it's because of it's a part of the tale. It's broken up into chapters. It's written like a story. It's presented like a story. There's a very meta thing with her role. Her character's job is a narratologist, and a narratologist is about the universality of stories and how stories change but don't change throughout the history of man. It's so good.
Okay. What about you, Mo? What you checking out?
I would recommend downloading, if you got like Roku or something. Get the streaming platform Freevee. It's a subsidiary of Amazon.
Yeah.
And just watch the first episode of Sprung. It is so fucking hilarious. And if you don't know about the show, it's about these two guys who are prison cellmates.
Right. And they get out from COVID.
Because of COVID. And then they go right back into crime. It is hilarious.
Bosch Legacy is also on that platform.
Okay,
which is a continuation of Bosch. Yeah, which is very good. They might as well not have even called it Bosch Legacy. They must have just done that because Amazon owns the rights to Bosch, and they decided they didn't want to do it anymore. Right. But it's Titus is in it, his daughter's in it. But yeah, I heard about Sprung, and when you said that, Mo, I thought there was like an old 80s black romance comedy called Sprung, and I was like, why is he raving about Sprung?
I remember Sprung. Yeah, Sprung was dope.
There is that too.
Sprung is a classic.
Yeah, so I'll watch
classic material.
So it's Fear the Black Cat.
Right.
Yeah.
What you checking out, Ant?
Wow.
I'm gonna check out Mike.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, the Mike Tyson,
Mike Tyson
thing.
Mike
On
Tyson.
Hulu.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought we were protesting. I thought we were boycotting Mike.
No,
Are we just gonna
you
forget that Mike story?
You would.
Mike Tyson. Okay, well, you know what?
Yep.
When Mike Tyson especially Mo, you met Mike Tyson, and if Tyson comes up into you and be like, "I said boycott my stuff," and you watched it anyway, I'm gonna be like,
Mike isn't a fan of the series.
No, he's not.
No, he's like, look, it's an unauthorized biography. He's like,
he got Jamie Foxx playing him.
Yeah, but the Jamie Foxx movie got put on hold.
Yeah, this is a series.
But now supposedly they're flipping Jamie's project to be a series, perhaps as I guess the authorized series to answer the unauthorized series.
They did that with the Fire Festival. They had the approved
I remember
documentary, and then they had the third-party documentary.
Yeah.
Fire Festival was pure trash.
Same thing with that.
That was so great.
That was a really. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed
smile on
that
my face
documentary.
watching it. Start to finish. Both of them. Both of them.
Man. Taking one for the team.
Yeah, bro.
What you watching, Will? What's on your TV?
I'm like 3 episodes in on Paper Girls because it's based off a comic, so I'm checking that out.
Where's that?
Other than that, mostly things on Netflix as far as like Tekken Bloodline is dope as hell. It's more like an anime type of deal.
Yeah,
and it is dope. They got some Tekken lore in there from beginning to end. It covers like all the games and stuff, and even the moves and the fight scenes are dead on the video
Tech
game.
and lore,
actual combos.
Tekken Lore is the name of the show on Netflix.
No, it's called Tekken Bloodline, I believe.
Yeah, Tekken
and
Bloodline.
It goes through the storyline of Jin being raised by his mom and then being trained by his grandpa, and they don't know where his dad's at. Typical badass.
It follows the broad storylines of the Tekken universe from the beginning of the video games.
Jin being the main character.
Yeah,
and man, it is dope. And then I'm rewatching Super Crooks because
Amazon.
I like that.
Super Crooks.
I think it's Amazon, Mo.
And that's the time travel thing, right? Like the girls are jumping back and forth between their young lives and their
Ali
old
Wong's
lives.
in it.
Yeah.
It's kind of slow. I don't really recommend it because, like I said, I'm 3 episodes in. I don't really know if I want to pick it up. I think it's more for my kids, really, but still kind of interesting, I guess.
All right, wait. Now, how old are your daughters?
19, 18, 16, and 15.
All right, so Paper Girls is hitting with your 15-year-old?
Probably so, but she's more on the She-Hulk with me right now.
Did she like Ms. Marvel?
You know what? They didn't want to get into it, and I kept telling them, I if I have to force them, they don't really want it. They don't deserve it. So I watched it. I cried. I loved it. It's about family, doggone it. They didn't get on
exactly.
But, you know, I'm still working on
There it is. Is there any shows or any nerdness that I'm missing?
Tawala, what are you watching?
You can always check out Baki on Netflix.
Oh yeah, Baki.
I finished Baki.
I love that show, even the old one.
I'm really just trying to watch Sandman. I like that. That's
Sandman. Though.
I'm into Sandman. I started late on it, and it caught me real quick. Where it was just very, very interesting, very different show. Watching it is almost like reading the comic, where the comic is not, a bang zoom action.
It isn't.
It's a graphic novel style book where it's a read.
Absolutely.
It's a grown up comic book. It's a grown up series.
Yeah. Outside of that, that's really all I've had to, She-Hulk, of course, but those are the only things I've check it out. I want to finish Sandman this weekend. Hopefully sometime next week I will be able to see Bullet Train. That's next on my list. Definitely want to see this 3,000 Years of Longing. And
you can always watch the extended version of Jurassic World that is now out.
Liz, never. Liz, look, here's the thing. That would have to be something that's like on, like it's on and it's in the background, and I'm like, oh, but I don't know if I'd stop and pay attention to it. It would be like, if Independence Day was on, it would be in the background, but I'm not going to stop and watch it because I've already seen it. I'm not watching yet another dinosaur movie. I don't care. I didn't care after the last dinosaur movie. I said to myself, okay, I'm done with dinosaurs. I'm done. I don't need any more dinosaur action. I am good. I'm good. It looks like, if I'm not mistaken, we lost Mo because I don't see him. Okay, so Mo is out. In that case, Will, I know you've watched us multiple times, and definitely. at the end of show, we close it out with what it is that we say. So I'm gonna give you a second.
I was going ready, Tawala.
Oh,
let's go.
Oh, shit. All right, Anthony, set it off, good sir.
Good news, everybody.
Dr. Liz.
Those with the most power have the most to answer for.
Nice. Tom.
Where is my longing suit?
Hello.
Ah, shit. Will, go on and hit it.
Some motherfuckers always trying to skate uphill. Yeah, that's from Blade.
Okay, Blade.
Excelsior! Yeah.